Welcome to a unique reading experience. What you're about to dive into is more than just a terrifying story based on true events. It's a chance to improve your English in a fun, immersive, and emotionally charged way. As you read, you'll naturally absorb vocabulary, expressions, and grammar in context. Keep a notepad nearby if you want to jot down new words. Now, turn the lights low, take a deep breath, and smile. Because smile isn't just a friendly gesture. It's a warning. Part 1. The Shift. Luna Serrano had always considered herself a rational woman. 26, independent and ambitious, she had recently landed her dream job as a junior editor at a small European film company in Antwerp, Belgium. She had stayed late editing trailers for a horror anthology series when she realized the building had grown eerily silent. Only the soft whir of her computer and the occasional click of her mouse kept her company. She glanced at the clock. 8 a.m. Damn, she muttered. She was the last one left. Again. She grabbed her leather bag slung on her coat and headed toward the elevator. Her phone buzzed with a message from her roommate. Don't forget to grab milk. She smiled briefly before the elevator doors opened with a ding. As she stepped in, a sudden chill washed over her, like the building had exhaled its last warm breath. It wasn't just cold, it was unnatural. Part 2. Beneath the Smile. Luna Serrano hadn't felt safe in weeks. Even after moving out of her border-house apartment, the feeling of being watched never left. The man's smile haunted her every waking moment, appearing in reflections, digital glitches, even in the background of photos she hadn't taken. He was always there, just watching. A grin that wasn't kind. A smile that sliced through the veil of normalcy and whispered of something wrong. Something ancient. Something hungry. Desperate for answers, Luna returned to Antwerp. She didn't go back to her old office, but to the city archives instead. If there was a history behind the smile, she needed to find it. She needed to understand what was tormenting her before it devoured her mind entirely. The Antwerp City Archives, located in a historic red brick building near Johannesburg, held hundreds of years of city records, property registries, death certificates, police logs. Luna buried herself in the dust of forgotten paper and yellowed maps. Days passed like minutes. Her fingers were ink-stained and trembling when she finally found it. A blueprint from 1947. Beneath the third level of the garage was an older, sealed-off structure labeled Ondergrondstoegang 17, Underground Access 17. It wasn't a floor. It was a tunnel. A narrow corridor, hidden behind a thick concrete wall. Something no one was meant to find. The forgotten tunnel. She wasn't sure how she did it, but Luna managed to bribe a night security guard, Mark, an underpaid student who worked part-time for the facility. He was skeptical, but the cash convinced him. At 2:00 a.m., they entered the garage through the maintenance elevator. The air was colder than usual, the buzzing fluorescent lights above casting strange shadows. The silence was a presence, thick and pulsing. "Why are we doing this again?" Mark asked, yawning nervously. "I think something's behind that wall. I need to know. I need to see it with my own eyes." They reached the far end of level 3, where Luna had seen the smiling man. Behind a cluster of broken pipes and rusted warning signs, there was indeed a wall, its texture slightly different, newer, out of place. And at the bottom corner, a small brass plate, 17. Mark frowned. I've worked here a year. Never seen that. Together, they used crowbars and a portable chisel hammer. The wall cracked open with a loud echo. Dust and a stench of mildew poured out, thick and sour. Behind the slab was a narrow stone stairwell that descended further than Luna could see. The walls inside were older than the garage, much older. They breathed age. "I'm not going down there," Mark whispered, his voice barely audible. "I am." She descended alone. Each step groaned beneath her weight, the air growing colder, more oppressive. Her flashlight flickered, then steadied. The silence was unnatural, like something was holding its breath. Her breath echoed louder in the void, like she wasn't alone. Like something was matching her rhythm. Part 3. What lies beneath? The tunnel was cold, the air stale and thick like an ancient tomb. Luna's flashlight carved shadows along the old bricks lining the walls, each etched with strange symbols, some worn away by moisture, others still sharp, as though someone had carved them recently. As she pressed forward, her light caught the faint shimmer of something wet clinging to the walls. A slow drip echoed like the ticking of a grotesque clock. The corridor twisted and narrowed until she reached a large chamber. It was circular, with vaulted ceilings and an iron gate at the far end. The chamber's very air vibrated, low and humming, like the beating of a buried heart. The silence here had gravity. It pressed into her skull. But it was what was painted on the floor that froze her. A large faded circle of chalk. Around it were words in Latin, "Risu mortem aperet." She didn't know Latin, but her phone translated it. With a smile he opens death. She stepped into the chamber. Something creaked behind her. She turned. Empty tunnel. But the air moved, like breath against her neck. And then that sound. The giggle. Soft and wet, echoing off the stone, like the cry of something not quite human. The pitch was wrong, like a child's laugh dragged through water. Luna ran. She didn't remember the stairs, only the blur of stone and shadow. Her chest burned. When she emerged from the tunnel, she found Mark gone. No footsteps. No echo. Only his flashlight lay on the garage floor, flickering. Still warm. She screamed his name, but the garage answered only with silence. Then, a smile. Carved into the dust on the wall. A smile. Wide. Shaking. Part 4. The research. Over the next several days, Luna didn't sleep. She dove into Antwerp's darkest histories. The library, the archives, even old newspapers from private collections. She discovered the city had a hidden network of tunnels used during wars, occupations, and by something else, something older than any government. A diary she found from 1902 mentioned a group called de Lachende Broders, the Laughing Brothers. They worshipped a smiling figure known only as de Glimlasher. The diary told of strange rituals, human offerings, and an entity that appeared only when summoned through fear, a fear so deep it carved open a doorway. The final entry chilled her. I saw him. He smiled at me. Now he is always behind me. I never smiled back, but he knows I thought about it. Luna's hand shook. The handwriting was frantic, like someone had scrawled it while trembling. The pages smelled of mildew and something faintly metallic. Blood, maybe. This wasn't legend. It was a warning. A record. A cry for help. She looked through photos of Antwerp's forgotten dead. One face, faintly blurred in the corner of a 1921 group photo, matched the man she'd seen. Same grin. Same stare. She felt the corners of her mouth twitch. She didn't want to smile, but something inside her did. Part 5. Vanished. Mark was reported missing by his mother. Police questioned Luna, but she told them only that he had helped her access the garage. Authorities found no record of Mark entering the building that night. Security footage showed nothing. No Luna, no Mark, no broken wall. It was like they'd never been there. That same night, Luna received a voicemail. It was 30 seconds of silence. But in the background, barely audible, she heard it. Giggle. Smile. Giggle. Click. She threw the phone across the room. Her bathroom mirror cracked the next morning, down the middle. In the reflection, for just a second, she saw him. Grinning. Closer than ever. Then her phone lit up with an airdrop photo. It was of her. Asleep. And in the background, by her bed, a figure. Smiling. Part 6. Face to Face. Luna returned to the tunnel one last time. Armed with a headlamp, a camcorder, and lines of protective salt, she descended. She was determined to document everything, to prove she wasn't insane. The stairs greeted her like old bones creaking. The air was thicker, heavier, like the atmosphere itself mourned her return. Even the darkness here seemed to recoil in fear. This time, when she entered the chamber, something waited. Not a ghost. Not a hallucination. The man. The smiling man. But he wasn't just a man anymore. His face shifted, stretching, his mouth splitting across his cheeks with a grin that defied anatomy. His eyes were bottomless, absorbing light and hope. Behind him, the iron gate creaked open. Beyond it, shadows. Moving. Breathing. Grinning. Human shapes that twitched like broken puppets. Eyes glowing faintly in the dark. Echoes of those who had smiled back. Luna didn't run. She stepped forward. I didn't smile, she said. He tilted his head, like a curious child. But you thought about it, he whispered, his voice sweet and rotten. The tunnel began to collapse. Screams filled the chamber, not from Luna, but from the walls themselves, crying out centuries of torment. Names. Begging. Laughing. She ran, salt burning in her fists, the camcorder whirring wildly. As she reached the final step, the tunnel mouth caved in behind her, sealing the chamber with a groan like dying breath. Epilogue: the truth buried. The garage was sealed off. Authorities called it a sinkhole caused by underground erosion. Luna vanished from public life. But a month later, a camcorder appeared online. The footage was grainy, corrupted, and incomplete, yet haunting. People claimed it was fake, but others recognized the man in the footage. They'd seen him too. In tunnels. In garages. In reflections. Smiling. Waiting. And somewhere deep beneath Antwerp, The laughter still echoed.